After The Shining, Nicholson kept things diverse throughout the 80s.
Why do you think they might think that?
Don't make a bit of sense to me.
Do you think there's anything wrong with your mind, really?
Not a thing, Doc. Excuse me, miss. Do you think it might be possible to turn that music down so maybe a couple of the boys could talk?
Your hand is staining my window.
God almighty, she's got you guys coming or going. A little change never hurt, huh? A little variety. Oh, Jesus! Oh, come on. You're not gonna say that now. You're not gonna say that now. You're gonna pull that henhouse shit now. And the vote, the chief just voted, it was 10-9. Now, I want that television set turned on right now!
I don't think he's overly psychotic.
I want something done!
I think he's dangerous.
Jesus, I mean, you guys do nothing but complain about how you can't stand it in this place here, and then you haven't got the guts just to walk out? I mean, what do you think you are, for Christ's sake, crazy or something? Well, you're not.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold it! See how easy it is?
We're from the State Mental Institution. This is Dr. Cheswick, Dr. Tabor, Dr. Scanlon. I'm Dr. McMurphy.
Hey, Mikey! What? All right, take him over! He's going over here! Get up, Tate! How about it, you creeps, you lunatics, mental defective?
Thank you, Meg. Thank you. I'll never forget you.
You know, I'll go out with you, or I'll stay in with you, or I'll do anything that you like for me to do, if you will tell me that you love me.
Keep on telling me about the good life, Elton, because it makes me puke.
It's the service speedy fast time.
People are filthy. I think that's the biggest thing that's wrong with people.
Dirt isn't bad, it's filth. Filth is bad. That's what starts maggots and riots.
Oh, don't touch me.
Daddy's very ill. Don't you think you should see him at least once?
Father and Herbert and I had a summit conference concerning you. They wanted to hire a detective to ferret you out, and I talked them out of it because I felt that whatever you were doing, you had a perfect right to do, no matter how nonsensical your ventures might be.
I move around a lot. Not because I'm looking for anything really, but because I'm getting away from things that get bad if I stay.
If a person has no respect for himself, no love of himself, his work, his friends, his family, or something, how can he expect love in return? Why should he ask for it?
Cut it out.
Why don't you just be good to me for a change?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Wherever you may be, you are visiting with Mr. V. And brought to you by chronicalization.com and visitors like you at patreon.com. It's the film list. Today on the film list, Jack. I think that's the best way we can say it. Jack is the subject today. Let me bring in our co-host, Daryl the OG. Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can.
Let me turn this music down and bring it out here. And I think this might be a long show today, Daryl. I don't know.
I got things to do, so come on, let's snap it up here.
Okay, all right. Well, we've got a huge subject here, and I was thinking about how to title this show. I was thinking, Jack in the 70s, Jack in his 70s, Jack. You kind of play on words and stuff. But then I found a quote that said. I forget who it was, said there is one actor in the world who is on a first name relationship with the world. That's probably Jack. You say Jack, you know who you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go first today. I'm going to talk about our first film, and then we're going to have you come in and talk about our second film. Our first film is 5 Easy Pieces, and I'm going to drop you out here so I can kind of take over and talk about this movie a little bit. Let me bring in my video. And what can you say about this movie? I have notes. Let me play. Take a look. Yeah, so where do you start with this movie? Usually you start with trying to tell us, trying to figure out what the story is, right? Oh, wait a minute. Start that over again. You try to figure out the story. Most stories are a puzzle to be unlocked, and you're trying to put the pieces together. But this story is told to you in pieces. But what are these 5 easy pieces? Here on the screen, you can see 3 reasons to watch this movie. Some incredible moments, but I think the best way to start is to just attempt to tell you the plot with as little deviation as possible. So we are introduced to Bobby. He's an oil worker. As we meet him, he has a girlfriend here, Karen Black. Wonderful actress Karen Black in this role. I'm going to try to stick to the thread. He's hanging out with, in his own words, bunch of crackers. He calls them crackers. They're what? They're white trash. He's slumming if you really get down to it, because we find out that this is his family. They're rich, and very quickly, Bobby gets a message from his sister that he has to return home and meet up with his father, who is basically comatose. He's had a couple strokes, and he doesn't react. He's got nothing there behind the eyes. So along the way, Jack hooks up with several women. Bobby hooks up with several women, and that's that. That's pretty much what you're given, is some hints at who this character might be. There's not very much there, and you have to tease this information out by really focusing and paying attention. This man's a classically trained pianist, we find out. But why? Why is he so angry? Why is he standing here on the freeway? Probably my favorite moment in the film, right here, when he barks at a dog right there on the freeway. He's sick and tired of sitting and waiting. But what's he doing? He keeps running away from his life. So let's get into the background here. You've got Bobby, Bob, and Jack. Bobby, Bob, and Jack. Now I say that on purpose that way because it's my opinion that this character is actually two men intertwined. Bob Rafelson and Jack Nicholson. They famously wrote the Monkees movie Head together on one night or a weekend of a very drug-fueled writing. And they experienced a lot of life together. Bob Rafelson is half of Raybert, the producers of the Monkees, and it's out of this frenetic mix of energy and a keen savvy for what still sells in the post 60s and early 70s that these men come together and work together on some pretty incredible films. Life imitates art, imitates life in this film. The script was written by Bob Rafelson, maybe based on moments of his life. I think that these two men knew each other. I know that they knew each other. Bob wrote the script, and many of the scenes are based on his own life and Jack's, including a famous scene at the diner. I'd like to believe that Bob was actually there in that Hollywood diner that night when Jack showed up about 3 in the morning after his friends had been there for hours. The waitress immediately took his cup of coffee away. Jack didn't like it, so he cleared the table. He said, "Oh, time to go." You can see Jack doing this if you know his character. Now let's take a look at this movie from a 60s and 70s lens, 60s/70s, right? Literally, because these movies do look different. What is it about these 70s movies? Is it the film stock that they're using? Is it just because it's independent filmmaking, a little cheaper? By the way, that's my house. That's my home right there. That little shot on the freeway. That's my off ramp. It's kind of funny. Jack Nicholson got his start with Roger Corman in independent films. So this film definitely fits into that mold. It's something undefinable to people who don't understand. I'm trying to gather this feeling here that I get out of this movie. It is something undefinable, as I wrote, to people who don't know what it means to attempt to capture not a picture, not a video, life timed perfectly. As a videographer, it seems like every time I start to talk, a horn will honk. Somebody will walk right in front of my shot just as I prepare. And this artifice is what I'm talking about. It's gone. It's gone in this film. There's Stanislavski, the actor's method. Jack studied the actor's method, famously was a fan of Brando. This was the beginning of this, trying not to act, but to be. And yet, if you look at these shots, it looks like they're kind of overdoing it. Jack just does it. And so, back to Corman and to the Monkees, you can see how this might fit perfectly. It fits the need to capture snippets of life, catch as catch can. And don't get me wrong, the Monkees was a fluffy show, but you can understand how someone like Bob Rafelson might get tired of slumming with the Hollywood schmoes. So that's how this movie is pieced together. This film also speaks to something from the 70s, and to quote my uncle here, Daryl, which I'm going to bring back in just a moment, from his book, it says, it resonated at a time in the culture of uncertainty and disillusionment, but it really could have been made at any time because there are always people like this in the world. It is quiet and slow moving, but an emotional film such as this cannot be rushed through though the emotion comes through the pace and spaces. So I've got a lot more to say about it, but I don't want to give you too much. I really want you to enjoy this film on your own. And want to bring in Daryl here from Chronicalization Video, and I'm going to add another link to the chat in a little while. We want you to join in as well if you'd like to come on live with us. Now, Matt Damon here is talking about Jack. He's talking. Jack told Matt Damon. He said, "You know, I wouldn't be a very good actor if I wasn't a good writer." And it's true. It's true. You can see how Jack. So what's the word I'm looking for? He ad libs, right? And his energy just comes out. What do you think about this movie, Daryl? Five Easy.
I like it a lot. I mean, I actually just read the bit that I wrote about it, and it to me it is a very 70s movie. It's the whole thing in those days was, the world's coming to an end, the Cold War, what the hell is going on, the old establishment people and the young kids and blah 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 blah. So it was a very 70s kind of feel to it. But you could make that movie today. I mean, right? It's like,
right. Well, yeah, you've got the haves and the have-nots, right? And this separation is even more so.
And
today.
So it's you could have made it in the 30s and the 40s too. It is rather universal. To me, it's a very, I wanted to make a comment about what you read about being slow, but first I want to make a comment about like Jack. He carries this movie because there's kind of not a lot there. I mean, this bit with the hitchhikers, and the bit in the diner, they're unrelated little anecdotes in this film.
Right. And it's like I was trying to say, it's just these moments from life.
Right.
It's like, hello, John, how are you today? Have you done the blah blah blah? There's no explanation. It's just a snapshot. Here we are.
It only works because of him. You see this. You know who this guy is. He's he's a volcano. Mm-hmm. Yet right here he's talking to his dad. He's very calm and explaining things. But you know what's like underneath that, right? But I wanted to say real quick that on these films that we've talked about so far, I can't remember, several of them. You fell asleep, The Hustler, or certainly the old from the 30s. They're slow.
Yeah.
This is a prime example to me of a slow film that has to be slow.
Yeah.
If you made it any more frenetic, it wouldn't work. It would just be a jumbled set of anecdotes, so to speak, and a lot of rushed dialogue. So it's like pace is a vital part of what a film is. And sometimes slow pace, I mean, probably the most famous slow pace movie, I guess, of all time is 2001, right? It's just, boring.
But to me, see, the one who's bored by movies, that's a masterpiece.
If you can sit through it and get into it,
right, it's
not boring at all.
Right. As with all of these other films we've talked about, right? You got to give yourself over to it.
Right. So anyway, that's my take on this one. I didn't see this in the theater. I was probably 14 or 13 when this came out, but it was.
I can't believe I've never seen it before.
Okay.
Honestly, and I'm like ashamed of myself because I mean, I don't want to use grandiose phrases, but I kind of do. Like, I want to say this movie ushered in the 70s film. I mean, this is, when I go back and I watch 70s movies, there's an indescribable element, and this it's I feel like it's coming out of this.
Right. I mean, this one stands. I think this one owes a lot to The Graduate.
Sure.
what else?
But again, that's kind of an artificial film, right? The Graduate.
No, it is, but
this is
still,
a better.
It's that theme of alienation and so on and so forth that kind of carries forward with that 60s, 70s, generation. So
yeah,
like I say, I'm a tad young for that, being in the middle of all this, but still, it's.
But you were there. You were there when I've been thinking about this all week. This movie sticks with you. It really does.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so where this guy is, the 60s are over, the party's over. And now this is what happened to America, right? I mean, they kind of partied away. The kids were like, yeah, woo, 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 but now we got to pay our taxes because it's 1972, right? And it's like, oh, the hippies became the yuppies, and maybe this is how. So, another thought before we move on. I don't want to belabor this too long. We've got to talk about Cuckoo's Nest, which is a huge subject. But this scene. I was doing research and I saw a comment by somebody who they said they were a film professor, and in their class they teach this moment as the first moment on film when a man really cried. Right there. And again, if you look at Jack's hero in the method and this is great too. See, the old man, his father, gives him 0 answers. Right? We get 0 answers from this movie. There's nothing there.
Right.
But okay, back to Jack's hero is Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando in the rudder from he's just emoting, right? But he's just chewing up the scenery in a way.
Yeah.
Jack takes that energy and it's just a tear, man.
Right.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to tell too much of the plot because there's not too much to it. You just gotta see
the
how.
ending is, I don't want to give away the ending, but
this
the
is one of my
is...
favorite. But how many of you out there want a movie with a sad ending?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Is it a sad end? I mean, he does what he wants in the end. Let's just say he's true to himself.
Let's also just remember, for all these grandiose ideas of alienation, he's an asshole.
Yes, he is.
He's just a complete asshole. And so it's like it's like he to a large extent he digs his own grave. It's like the source of his unhappiness is him. And the reason he's unhappy is because he's an asshole. He keeps doing asshole-ish things. So it's like, that's not the way to get through life. It's like, I'm sorry.
Right. He just continues to make the wrong choice again.
So it's like,
again.
And then he wonders why he's unhappy. That's why. But that's obviously not what the movie is. But anyway.
Hey, I got a comment. We got some comments here. Hey, Eddie. Hello, Eddie. One of my film industry friends.
Noble Fox Dragon says, more into a sad but happy ending. Okay,
no, I don't.
Well,
I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Sad but happy. I don't know what that means. Because this is just real. It's I don't know how else to say it. It's just kind of like he does what you expect him to do. You don't want him to, but you know he's going to do it. And he does. So
I don't think of it that way, but in a way, the upcoming movie you could consider a sad but happy ending.
Oh yeah. Okay, so put a pin in that. Put a pin in that. Yeah. Let's finish up five easy pieces here. 5 Easy Pieces is released in 1970. It is available on streaming, but you have to pay for it. I rented it on Amazon. Get it on Criterion, guys. Get it on disc. Get the commentary. All I kept hearing in all of my research was I watched this on Criterion. I loved it on Criterion. We should talk about The Secret Tunnel. Hold on. This is a 70s film essential. If you have not seen it, you need to see it. There aren't really quotable lines in this movie, but there's quotable moments. The scene on the freeway, the scene in the diner based on a real life situation, and the piano scene when he plays the piano, and the woman who he's playing it for says, "Oh, I just had such an emotional connection to that," and he says, "I felt nothing."
Yeah.
He's lying. You know he's lying, right? He's just a dick.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's move on. Let's see here. What do we say? Like the hero dies, but everyone he cares about made it out. Well, okay, I understand that. Sure.
Yeah.
I
Right.
get that. Yeah. Well, because that's the hero's job, right? Sometimes to
Right.
sacrifice
Right.
themselves. Bobby is not a hero. He's not a
No.
hero.
No.
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 No. Yes, Eddie, I know about the tunnels under the mansion. We'll talk. We want to do another live stream, weird news with stuff like that. I really want to get into that, Eddie, with you, some of that Hollywood stuff. But
All right.
let's keep moving forward with the film list. Our next film today is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And Daryl?
Yeah.
Take it away.
All right. Well, so this one, I'll tell you a short little story now that Brian backed out. This came out, I think I was a senior in high school, I believe. And my mother, my sister, Brian's mother, had 4 kids in 4 years, and thus probably needed a little bit of help. And so my mother would go down there periodically and spend time at her house helping with the chaos that was the Vanderswag family in those days. So my father and I were kind of hanging out. And what do you know? You want to go see a movie? So we went to see a movie, and whatever it was we went to see was sold out, or I don't remember what happened. But so we were like, we're not going to see that movie. What are we going to do? I said I really wanted to see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I just finished reading the book, so I said, why don't we go see Cuckoo's Nest? And he looked at the marquee, and it said R rating, and he kind of paused, and he goes, And he says, all right, let's go do it. So we go watch this movie. And it's like this was not my father's wheelhouse at all. So we go see this movie. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. I was mesmerized by the whole thing. We were driving home afterwards. I go, and he says, oh, so what'd you think of that movie? And I said, I thought it was great. I thought Jack Nicholson did a great performance. I loved the whole thing. And he goes, there sure was a lot of swearing in that movie. that was pretty much his entire review of the whole thing. So anyway, there is a lot of swearing in the movie, and I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. The thing about it is, so what this is it's a metaphor for a man up against the machine. It's a metaphor for authority and people who can't live with authority. We talked I don't remember, 3 or 4 weeks ago about the movie Cool Hand Luke. Cool Hand Luke is about a guy who he's not really a bad guy. He's just sort of can't go along with the program. And so he gets in trouble. And he gets in trouble and he still can't go with the program, and he makes it worse. This is kind of the same character as Cool Hand Luke. He just bucks against authority all along the way. He never quite is able to just buckle and go, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So he arrives to this. He actually is arrested for statutory rape. And I think finagles it. I think he kind of feigns the insanity. So he figures it's going to be easier in the madhouse. So he goes to the psychiatric institution. And he's going to serve his time there, although he doesn't realize that it's not a prison. He's there until basically they say you're sane and you're out. And so it's a very I don't know. To me, it's a huge indictment of psychiatry. It shows the utter imbecility of psychiatric treatment. If you're trying to help people, maybe not stick 1,000 volts through their brain as a way to help them. But anyway, the crux of it is he meets the Nurse Ratchet. She has all these guys in there, and she's controlling them with an iron fist, or what's the term is an iron fist and a velvet glove. She's very soft-spoken, very, very nice and demure, yet she's an iron fist. She takes no shit from nobody and does She gets everyone to do exactly what she wants. And she has all these other guys cowed. They will do whatever they want. They won't hardly move without permission. And then Jack Nicholson McMurphy, I think his name is R.P. McMurphy, comes in, and he's not having it. He's just incapable of bucking to the system. So I don't know. That's basically the plot outline. There's a lot of stuff going on. He kind of creates this cabal with the other inmates and tries to overthrow her. Not having it. It goes on and on and on. I'm probably not doing a very good job of summarizing the plot. But at the end, there's an incredible part at the end. I have to just say this, that somehow he finagles this whole scene of getting these prostitutes with some booze in, I think, is it Christmas Eve or I don't, it may be, I don't know, but it's a kind of a special night, Christmas night or something. And they're having a party and everybody's having a blast, and all these poor crazy guys are getting drunk and they don't know what the hell's going on. And then the next scene is Mary Poppins, and they I don't know where that came from.
What is that? What is that in there?
There's a little scene of Mary Poppins there.
Let's move on. Anyway,
but there's this one scene that's seriously one of my favorite scenes in film. It's the end of the night. It's 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they've been partying all night. And Jack Nicholson is just sitting there, and the plan is they're all going to leave. They got the keys to the window, and they're going to get out of there.
Yeah.
But he's drunk and whatever, and they're all just kind of sitting there, and he's just looking. He's just looking off.
Those eyes, those Jack eyes.
And his eyes, and they kind of like fade out to like nobody's home. And then he kind of looks around, and then he just kind of sits there, and it's like, I'm telling you, I remember seeing that in the theater. I was just like, it's just unbelievable, and it tells you who the character is, what's he thinking about, and and a lot of it to me is, this ain't working. This is not going to happen. This is not going to work. I got the keys, the window's right there. And it's like, this is not going to go anywhere. So talk about a sad but happy ending. It's not a happy ending at all.
But
it ends up kind of being the ending that has to happen.
Yeah, again.
Which is, and I haven't even said anything about the Indian. I can't remember his name.
Chief Broom.
Chief Broom, because
he's the narrator of the book, by the way.
The book is written in the first person.
Yeah.
Of this character,
the Indian who can't talk,
and he seems to be a deaf mute, but he'll end up talking to RP.
Yeah.
He basically finds his escape, and so it's kind of like, I love, the other thing I love is the score. There was
they can't play any music or the copyright.
The Native American kind of theme of the Indian guy. But the score is Jack Nietzsche, who is I don't know, he wasn't a very rock and roll guy. He was more like an arranger and stuff. He worked with a lot of rock groups, but he did like different arranging and stuff like that. Anyway, great score, great movie. It won the top 5 Academy Awards, which is very rare. It's only happened a few times.
Yeah, if you want to go to that, let's jump over here because I do have a screen for that. Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you because I mean, there's a lot to say here.
There is, yeah.
It's a pay-per-view movie. You got to pay for it or get it on disc. Get yourself a copy of this movie, guys. This is something that should be in your library. Oscars sweep, yes. Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Actress. But how many did it win? Let's see here. Hold on. Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting. Nominee.
No, it didn't win. Supporting actor.
Yeah, Best Director Milos Forman, Best Writing Screenplay Adapted from Other Material winner, nominee for Best Cinematography, nominee for Best Editing, and nominee for Best Music. There you go, Jack Nietzsche. There he is.
And then poor Billy Babbitt didn't get the award for Supporting Actor, which
Yeah, and those of you who know, I mean, you know, us nerds know who that guy is. That's Brad Dourif. Let me get this thing out of my face. Guys, make sure you check out Chronicalization Video at chronicalization.com. That's Daryl's thing, and why?
Is.
Why? Because it's about time. That's your tagline. I'm trying to.
You decided that's my slogan.
That's your slogan. Why? Because it's about time.
Yeah.
No, but really, hang on. Let's stay our course here. Academy Awards. We covered that the cast. That cast. I mean, this picture, even in the comments here. Yeah, Dragon says, yeah, all those people, and there's a really cool. What'd you say, Eddie? You had a crush on Nurse Ratched? And they dated? I didn't know that they dated. Nicholson,
I didn't know if they dated. Yeah.
Interesting. There's a really great. I want you to find this, guys. Go search it on YouTube. AFI Awards, Jack Nicholson speech, and he's talking about Cuckoo's Nest. And he gets up and he goes on for about 9 minutes, and about 6 minutes in, he goes, "Have I done 3?" And he just goes on and on and on. And he's talking about the day he got off the bus, and the cast is getting off the bus, one after another, and he's talking about these guys. Danny DeVito, and then he talks about Danny DeVito. He says, "I remember we were on the basketball court, and I passed him the ball, and he takes the ball, and he goes, who, and throws it off to the side." And I said, great timing. He's going to go places, that guy. Christopher Lloyd, so young in this movie.
Yeah.
Before Taxi, before Back to the Future. Billy Bibbit, Brad Dourif, that's who I was talking about. Brad Dourif is in a ton of science fiction and Lord of the Rings. He's the voice of Chucky, by the way, if you don't know that. There's some trivia for you. Who else is here in this picture? Vincent Schiavelli, up in the back left there. Who else? Some notable faces. Who's that guy with the glasses there? I forget.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. He was a fairly prolific character actor in those days. Yeah. But yeah,
you will recognize everyone from this film. You'll just every single person. You're like, wait a minute, that's what? And that's just the icing. The fact that these guys are giving such an amazing performance. Every one of these characters. It's based on a book. The character in the book is a redhead like me. He's a tall, stocky guy. In fact, I think like we said, the book is narrated by Chief Broom. This is my copy of the book, by the way. That's the one I own. And Chief says that McMurphy comes up to his chin, which is surprising because most people can't, or something like that. And Jack's way shorter than that. So Jack's able to overcome this. He's supposed to be really a hellraiser, this guy.
Yeah, right.
And Jack is, he brings his own thing to it, but it's not the character from the book. What else? What else do we say?
Well, so I was going to say, you're getting on that. I looked at Wikipedia the other day, and they were talking about. It's actually I don't know if it's the most interesting, but it's a rather interesting story. The whole line of how this thing got produced. But one thing quickly is they rattled off the people that they offered. They offered it to Gene Hackman. Who was the other one? It was Burt Reynolds. I can't remember the other one, and they turned it down. And Jack Nicholson didn't want to do it originally. He was afraid. I don't know what it was, but he didn't think he was right for it or something like that.
He might have read the book because it was. Yeah,
exactly.
So Kirk Douglas licensed the book like 2 years after it came out.
I was going to go into that. He actually bought the rights to it, expecting he was going to do it. Now I got to admit, Kirk Douglas was a good actor. He was actually a good actor, but I think he dodged a bullet on that one because I can't quite see I just can't picture Kirk Douglas
Yeah.
kind of, you know, Spartacus. As,
what are you guys crazy? What are you insane?
Kind of Spartacus.
But he would have put on a floppy red wig and been all McMurphy. Listen, you bums.
And so,
like, you know.
So what happened? So actually, what happened was his son, Michael Douglas, who's a well-known actor, he took over. He actually ended up producing it. There's a whole long story about Milos Forman, but I just wanted to get to the point of that one. Is that he was Czechoslovakian, made some really good movies. You look him up. He made some good movies. There's one called Loves of a Blonde, which is probably really obscure, and who's probably anybody watching this is not going to be interested in that movie. But I love that movie. It's a really good movie.
Well, don't say that. That's exactly what we're here for, is to give people insight into movies you wouldn't necessarily. What was it called again?
It's called The Loves of a Blonde. It's
Loves of a Blonde.
Made in like 65. It's kind of like that 60s, just like they're making kind of a Gidget kind of movie in America, but it's Czechoslovakian, so it's just really different, you know. But I don't know if he escaped, but he left Czechoslovakia, came to America, and they gave him the script, and his initial response was, "This is exactly my life," because he viewed the psychiatric hospital as a metaphor for communism.
Oh,
and so he was like, so he took it over, and he did a fantastic job with it.
I saw this movie the first time I saw it on TV, and famously, Milos Forman will not allow this film to be shown uncut. Period.
Oh, nice.
And so if you see it on TV, you're seeing the movie. He will not allow it to be cut. Maybe it has something to do with that. It's interesting.
Yeah. And you know, to go on, and there's other ones on my film list. He did Ragtime. He did Amadeus. He did People versus Larry Flint. He's done some great movies. He's very high end director.
Should put his name on here. Milos Forman. Here's a picture of him winning the Academy Award. Milos, pronounced Milos.
So Noble Fox Dragon says, "Why cut it for time limits?" No, for content. I think there's some other films. I've heard of other films that had that same stipulation, and it's or maybe is that a she or he? I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's a friend. It's he.
Okay, so he. Maybe you don't understand this. Is that normally what they do when they put things on TV is they got to cut it for commercials, and then the movie is more than a 2-hour slot, and it's only a 2-hour slot, so they'll cut content to make it fit into that slot.
For time, yes.
And so,
thank you, Eddie.
What he's saying is, you're not cutting a minute out of my movie. You can take time out for commercials, but all the content is going to be there.
Yeah.
You can pause. I've heard of other movies. I want to say some of Scorsese's movies have that stipulation.
Maybe so.
But yeah, because and that's honestly, I get into a whole rant. But I refuse to watch movies on TV.
Yeah,
because you can't
broadcast TV. We're talking about broadcast.
You can't really watch a movie where every 10 minutes it gets cut. you take a 2-minute break.
I remember watching The Breakfast Club on TV, and famously, a lot of movies actually will record. They will film other dialogue now to replace. So there's this line in The Breakfast Club where the guy says, "Eat my shorts," and it's the guy goes, "Eat my socks." You're like, what? What is that? So dumb. And we know what this means, guys. It takes you out of it. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Socks? What? He's talking.
The best one was, there's a movie. Can I tell you? I don't know what the name of it was. Anyway, this guy about 10 times a minute was using the word maggot farmer. I'm like, Maggot Farm. It's like that was their stand-in for something else.
What was it? What was it?
Yeah.
We're not edited here. We don't care, man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, so yeah, Cuckoo's Nest. See it.
So yeah, it's
see it.
It is, and the thing is, it's interesting because it's a completely different movie than Five Easy Pieces, but in a lot of ways, it's a very similar movie. It's
what I was going to say about that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it is kind of the same. Again, I consider that kind of a 70s movie. The sentiment of it and all. It's obviously something that would fit anywhere. You can make it now, and it'd be different, but it'd be the same. But in a lot of ways, they are very similar films.
But I think they also, I don't know, I kind of disagree. I think they had to be made during this time to be what they are. Like you say, it would be different today, definitely.
Well, I guess my point is the 70s did not hold a franchise on disillusionment and alienation. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. It'd be different.
They sure hammered on it hard.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a big theme, and then we got to the 80s, and everything was great again.
Well, then you had John Hughes in Breakfast Club, which that was the alienation. The Breakfast Club is.
There you go. There you go. Right? That's fun. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a thought, and it slips away. So. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. See, again, these grandiose statements. I as I'm writing, I write these things. I'm like, I can't say that out loud. That sounds so silly. Five Easy Pieces ushered in the era of the 70s, which reached not a mountaintop but a plateau with Cuckoo's Nest, because that was by no means the top of Jack's mountaintop.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this real quick, just because it's fun. This is Jack accepting his Academy
This is the AFI thing?
No. This is Jack accepting, I'm sorry, it's a BAFTA award. It's a British award. He's accepting a BAFTA award for
Five Easy Pieces.
Cuckoo's Nest. No, for sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Is it
Chinatown?
It's what?
Chinatown and The Last Detail.
Okay, because this is when he's filming.
Yeah, he's on the set.
Right.
But just realize he's accepting 2 Best Actor awards simultaneously.
Yeah.
What?
Wow. Yeah.
Smashing, who have been chosen Best Actor by the Society this year for my performance in Chinatown. I'd like to thank Madam President and the rest of the members of the Society for this great honor. I wish that I could be with you there in Albert Hall, but as you can see, I've been institutionalized here in Oregon while filming One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with some friends of mine. I understand, however, that Misters Polanski and Town are with you in the audience this evening, and I'm sure that they will take this opportunity to thank Miss Dunaway themselves and the rest of the cast and crew of Chinatown for their contributions. Mr. Town, Mr. Polanski, if you would, please.
Hello. Excuse me for interrupting, but Mr. Nicholson has to come with me now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just thought that was great.
I've seen that before. That's cute. Yeah.
So, Jack. Let's move on. Let's move on as quickly as we can and kind of wrap it up here. I don't know. We'll see. Adding to the list. See, this is the 70s Jack. Okay, so when we discuss Jack again, I assume we should probably move into the 80s. What is your favorite Jack Nicholson movie? Let's try to add to the list here. I just grabbed these screenshots, and as I was grabbing them, I there's just so many. There's just so many. Witches of Eastwick. I'll say for my own part, I'm a nerd, guys, but Joker is not his greatest role. It's not. He loved that movie. He had a lot of fun making that movie, and every time I watch it again, I see a little bit more of what he's doing. Maybe I just didn't get it, but he's just all over the place because he ad-libbed absolutely everything. You look at something like As Good as It Gets, The Departed. These are totally different roles. And that's where he met with Matt Damon, and Matt Damon, he was commenting on the fact that I wouldn't be a good actor if I wasn't a good writer, because he grabs those moments that even the writer, the director didn't see. He always tells the director, "Let me go about 5 minutes more, and I'll just get some something." There's also a story about a director who was pissing him off, and he said, "Yeah, I mean, you could do whatever you want, you see, but eventually I'm just going to get bored, and I'll just turn off."
So
you don't want Jack to turn off his bag of tricks,
Yeah. So I had to just quickly look up Jack Nicholson, because otherwise you say, what is his best performance or whatever. I forget, right? But the
man's won with five best actors, right? I think.
I don't know. He has 12 nominations. I don't know. I can't read this quite quick enough. But yes, for my favorite is Chinatown, Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, probably Chinatown and Cuckoo's Nest are my favorite. But Prizzi's Honor, very good.
I've never seen that.
That's a good one. And I'll say this also is this is my take on the movie A Few Good Men. People love that movie. My thing about that movie is it's a very mediocre movie with one scene that's one of the greatest scenes in cinema. The courtroom scene with Tom Cruise and Nicholson is unbelievably great.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is just kind of mediocre, but
I agree.
His performance in that scene is unbelievable.
People think
really unbelievable.
People think it's his movie, and it's like, no, he's in like 15 minutes of the whole thing. He's got like 15 lines or something like that.
I mean, it's. I mean, you're probably right. It's you can't handle the truth.
That's it.
You're right. That Code Red or
yeah, yeah.
There's a few scenes down in Guantanamo Bay where he calls him a fairy for wearing the whites or something. Like that.
That's me, you fairies. You don't walk the line, walk the tower like I do.
Yeah, you need me. Yeah, exactly. So it's
true. It's a very powerful speech. You need me on that wall.
Let me tell you, now we're getting off the subject here, but I just saw a video the other day with Kevin Pollak, who's in that film.
Yeah,
and he says we all arrived to the film, and he said we sat down to do the initial read through of the script, because normally you just do that. Everyone's just kind of, you're just reading it. You're not really into it. Jack Nicholson gets to his part, and he starts doing it all in, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, okay, so we're actually doing this," and so everyone's like, emoting after that. So yeah, he's an icon. I mean, he's been around a long time. He's still, I guess, he must be frail because he doesn't seem to be out in public very often anymore.
Yeah, well, I did some research into he's sad to say he's dying. He's just fading. Yeah. And his last movie was maybe 10 years ago, actually, and he didn't intend to retire. He kept saying, "I'm going to do this. I'm getting ready to do something," but then I think his health has finally just failed. And in a way, I think it's fitting, actually. I mean, Jack he's a fire that burned really hot, and he's burning out, man.
Well, I mean, he's got to be, how old is he? He must be in his mid 80s or something. So
he's he's
87. And he's another one of those guys that I have to say, another one of those guys that the way they live their lives, I don't know how they lasted to 87.
Right.
You look at some of those rock and roll guys and some of those old actors. It's like, how the hell did you get to be 87 and live that kind of life? Anyway.
Have you seen Gene Hackman recently? Just random thought. I mean, Gene Hackman retired famously about 10 years ago, and he looks his age now. But he's walking around some gas station in Texas every once in a while. People are like, Gene Hackman. But yeah, I mean, these guys get old, unfortunately, and that's why we have their moments preserved on film. I don't want to babble on too much more about this, guys. I don't see any comments, any further comments in the chat, so we're gonna wrap it up here, I think.
Good.
Couple plugs I want to make here real fast. I am going to right now. I'm going to be going to the Hollywood Heritage Museum. I have to be there in about an hour. If you want to come meet me, visit with me live, I'll give you a free t-shirt.
Oh, wow.
Or I'll give you a deck of cards. I've got some Batman cards. And I already gave it away. You have to ask me who my favorite superhero is. And if you can guess, you'll get a little free something. Because this exhibit at the Hollywood Heritage Museum is called Broadcast from Hollywood. It's all about early television. There's a lot of television artifacts, and I'm going to meet an artifact. No, that's not right. I'm going to meet. I'm kidding. I'm going to meet Ryan Cassidy. I think he's the youngest of the Cassidy brothers. I know you were a huge Sean Cassidy fan back in the 70s, Daryl. You had the satin jacket, right?
All his records.
And yeah. Anyways, he's doing an event today. And he's going to be talking about his book, James Cagney Was My Babysitter.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm going to find out what this is about. I'm going to get a copy of the book, and I hope that he will join us here on the film.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
In the future. It'd be really cool to ask.
we could talk about his mother.
Yes,
his mother won an Academy Award. His mother was quite. I'm assuming it's Shirley Jones was his mother.
I think so. Yeah.
She won an Academy Award for Elmer Gantry, and she was in
something happened to your microphone, Daryl. I don't know. You sound
what?
Something happened to your microphone. It changed all of a sudden. Your audio.
Did it really?
There it is. Sounds a little better.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I pushed my computer back a little bit.
Yeah.
His mother was a very pretty woman, but also a very, very, very talented actress. So yeah, we do a whole Shirley Jones thing.
Be interesting. Sure. Yeah. We'd have to prime the pump with a couple of movies so I can kind of know what I'm talking about, right? That's why I have you here, because I don't know shit about shit, man. I'm kidding. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you in about an hour at Hollywood Heritage Museum. We'll see you next week on.
Yeah, what are we going to do next week? Do you want to?
Good question.
Quickly find something.
Let's take a look. I have my show notes here, and I'm not really following here. Hand off to Daryl. AFI Awards speech. Did that. Jack in the 80s. That's the question. We left out Chinatown, guys. That's really huge. If you haven't seen Chinatown, you got to see it. I think I got all my notes. Okay, what do we got next here? Gary Cooper movies or Audrey Hepburn? Oh boy, I don't know. See, I've seen High Noon. I've seen Gary Cooper High Noon. I don't think I've ever seen For Whom the Bell Tolls. I think that's the book that made me quit English class, man. That's why I'm an English teacher. Because I had an argument with my teacher about that.
You didn't like that book? Really?
No, I just had it's either I think it's Farewell to Arms actually. There's something where the hero falls in the river and he grabs onto a branch and he's floating down the river and the teacher says, "What does the branch symbolize?" And I said, "The branch symbolizes life. He's clinging to life." And she says, "Wrong. It's love." And I said, "No, you're wrong." And it was on the test.
You're both wrong. Maybe it's a fucking branch. Did you ever think about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's why I was taking something quite literally. He's clinging to life.
Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. I'm babbling on and on. What do you want, Cooper or Hepburn? Boys or girls?
Are those our choices? All right. How about Hepburn? That's good. We've been doing Jack Nicholson and Paul Newman. Let's go female.
Mix it up a little bit. Give the ladies some attention here. Roman Holiday.
She's lovely.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. I have seen Breakfast at Tiffany's. I don't think I've seen Roman Holiday, so I'll take Roman Holiday.
Roman Holiday. Oh no, I was going to say that's Gary Cooper. That's Gregory Peck in that film.
Gregory Peck.
Yes.
And Audrey Hepburn. Okay. All right. Well then, next time, Audrey Hepburn.
That sounds fun.
Coming up on the film list.
Bring all the chicks in. That's yeah.
Right. Okay, Eddie, thank you very much for joining us today in the chat, and Dragon, thank you very much to you. I won't be on Star Trek today. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done doing my duty for the day. Daryl, what's going on with Chronicalization this week?
This week, well, I'm editing is what I'm doing. You know, I do interviews with people, and then you have to edit them. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Speaking of editing, I've got a new video coming up tomorrow, and I'm editing little shorts too about our film list. Have you seen the shorts?
They look, they're good. They look good.
And like,
so,
what do you? Not to get too personal, because I'm sure you're chronicalizing somebody's life, but what are you editing right now?
Somebody's life. Yeah, I have a couple of full life history interviews that I've done with people. About a 4-hour interview, and the 4-hour interview, that's a lot of footage to go through. It's not super, the editing is not super complex. You just have to cut out the ums and the ahs, and you slap in some pictures to give it some life, and you put some transitions in there, and you know, but it's still a lot of work. So anyway, I enjoy it. It's fun.
It is. It is where we do what we do. We do the same thing in different ways.
Exactly.
All right, folks. Well, our chronicalization video, and if you want to meet me, come see me at the Ryan Cassidy event in about an hour, Hollywood Heritage Museum. That's it. I'm not going to babble anymore. We're going to start the music up, and we're going to say bye for now.
Sounds good.
And a special thanks to all of the videos that we used today. I'm going to put those links in the chat. You can check those videos out yourself. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for visiting with Mr. V. Bye for now.